Hello everyone, welcome to the amazing New York Region State Finals between Syosset Senior High School and Uniondale High School. This is of course brought to you by the amazing people by PlayVS, and today your man Oski Champ as well as my friend Cups of Robot will be breaking down all the action. Cups, how you feeling? What are you looking forward to today?
Oh, I'm feeling good. We've seen some awesome matches here this week and last week, and I'm just looking forward to see how these teams perform. I'm constantly impressed by the talent coming out of these schools and these series.
Yeah, there is some insane talent at this level, kind of getting their opportunity to see how they'd operate at that main stage that awaits them as they get out of high school and opportunities start to open up. But we are very much looking forward to Syosset Low and the Uniondale Knights going at it head-to-head, 5v5 action that only League of Legends provides, and it's going to be jumping right into our pick and ban phase. Just a little bit of history for our viewers. The Syosset Low team are defending their title. They won the fall 2022 championship, so this will be their chance to once again run it back and get a chance to get another title under their belt.
Defending the title.
Quick bans coming out. We got Yumi off the board, Kha'Zix off the board. Definitely some great initial bans when you're not really too sure what your opponent is bringing to the table on game one. This is the feeler game, you get to really get your chance to kind of see whose hands are hot, how the mentality is, get those comms warmed up, because you still have an opportunity, no matter what happens in game one, to do a 2-0 and get that 2-1 scoreline and ultimately achieve victory.
Yeah, I would imagine the pressure with the best of three situation. It's kind of you have to be quick to adapt on game one because you have a massive. You're going to be on your heels if you don't take that first game. But it's also, I would imagine, the toughest game.
All right, I'm going.
Love that we have this best of three, though. Nothing worse than a best of one to decide something like this kind of title. And as we talk about that, Rengar and Rumble both also taken off the board. I remember that Rumble being a threat in the fall. So Uniondale Knights definitely having done their homework, knowing what picks they do not want to see Syosset pop off on.
What box would you make? What bans would you make in this match?
Man, in general, there's just so many champions to take off the board. I know that with the Rumble being off the board, they've done a good job. That was a pop-off pick for Syosset in the past. The Kha'Zix as well, I know they're jungler, very comfortable with aggressive junglers that can facilitate a lot of early pressure. So taking the Kha'Zix away, I'd like to see the Viego go away as well. I haven't seen that taken quite yet, and we might see it be picked up in this first round draft pick. I also remember a Rek'Sai being quite menacing, but there's the Viego. As I speak about him, I know Syosset loves those tempo junglers and loves to get their lanes an early advantage, and that's why we're seeing that pick come through early.
I'm liking these names I'm seeing on Syosset's team here. Chicken Say What? Wake Up at 8. I'm a fan of a good name.
Gonna instill fear with the tag. But the response to this early pressure to come out is a little bit of a scaling pick and a lot of time and deliberation coming out on these picks from Uniondale. So they really want to make sure that they are giving the respect to Syosset that they are deserved, and an equal tempo picked on the side of the Uniondale Knights with this Wukong jungle. What I assume will be a Wukong jungle. Of course, it is a flex pick, could go to that top lane, but a little bit less successful. It does a great job at clearing out those jungle camps quick and using his invisibility to either get through the lane and do some interesting ganks or do something cool from the side brush. Rakan hovered, but Pyke ultimately locked in, and Pyke, a character that has been nerfed and reworked over time, but at the end of the day, a good Pyke is somebody that you have to fear. So this bot lane being locked in, Syosset staying true to their nature and picking in some aggressive tempo picks that will really put Uniondale Knights on the back foot if they cannot stop them from getting gold early.
And big shout out to the coaches, Coach Mark and Coach Sanjay. For each team. Syosset, Marcus with Syosset, and Sanjay is with the Uniondale Knights. Big shout out to them and all the work they're doing with these teams to get them to where they are today.
Yeah, that's a great time to shout him out because Sanjay has done an amazing job at making sure that they've drafted something that can respond to this early pressure. The Braum will be able to dissuade a lot of those early engages and push back a lot of the pressure that can come in with a 3v2 in the bot lane. You have the Jinx who can put out the Flame Chompers and disengage, use her Zap to really slow down and dissuade any types of pressing forward. And then on top of that, you have Wukong, who's one of the best peeling junglers that also can facilitate and engage. So I think that Uniondale Knights have amazing answers. It's going to be about playing it well, though. They have to make sure that they are scaling. At the end of the day, this Jinx needs items. This Wukong is going to need the tankiness to get inside, shred down the resistances, and really become a threat when he's going around the backline and things like that. But so far, everything is looking crisp, clean. We have very clear win conditions being drafted in the early pick phase, and that's exactly what you want to see.
It's always something interesting. So, at this point, and this is just me asking as a noob in this situation.
Yeah.
Home team is picking, and the away team, like, so Uniondale is responding to their picks. Is that accurate, or do I have that flipped?
No, you're correct in that. Like, so the blue side, where Syosip, since they were the first seed, they started blue side. They got to choose which side they wanted, essentially, which they opted to choose blue side because you get your first pick there. But on red side, you get last pick, so you can see the entire comp fleshed out from your enemy, and then have something, you know, maybe an ace in the pocket, really something, you know, a big key component of your comp left out that you can pick right at the end that they have no chance to respond to. But unfortunately, for the way that the ban system works, you're going to have to make sure that that pick gets through 10 bans ultimately, because if it's not able to be picked, you wasted that last pick slot for nothing.
Yeah, there's a very high stakes part of the game.
Honestly, this is honest. You know, people will say the game is won right here. This is the place where you could make a detrimental mistake in what you've picked and drafted that, you know, it's too difficult to execute as opposed to what you've been placed to execute it against. So all across the board, I'm loving what I'm seeing. Just going over the rest of what was locked in. We got a Cassiopeia, a scaling goddess, Medusa-esque snake in the mid lane, and then that Darius that we've seen so many times go into the top lane. In response to that, we have the Shen, who's willing to lend his aid all across the map using that Stand United. And then on top of that, the Lissandra in the mid lane, and it's going to be an amazing fight. That blue side from Syosset, they are going to try to go in for some big fights and blow some people up, get the resets on the Viego, have Samira get to style S and rain down her ultimate. And then on the other side, they want to dissuade that initial push as much, you know, kind of disengage and then re-engage with their tools. This way they can allow a lot of the old, you know, initial cooldowns to be put out from Syosset and then respond with their own, because Uniondale Knights have quite the team fight of their own. It has a formidable aspect in it in this Jinx, and there's kind of a timer on it. If you let this Jinx get out of hand, she will no doubt dominate what Syosset has drafted.
I feel like we saw a strong Jinx in our last League of Legends series last week.
Oh yeah, we did. Jinx she's that girl, you know. maybe it's the arcane buff, maybe it's you know, just the nature of the character and kind of being Riot's love child in that way, but she is just always been a threat since she came onto the Rift. If she's on the map, she's somebody that you have to pay attention to. You have to dedicate resources to keeping shut down, because once those get excited procs start happening on that passive and she has the auto attack strength behind it, it is undeniable damage. That's the one thing about this game. AP damage, like usually the magic damage, comes in the form of skill shots, things that you can dodge. It doesn't really matter if somebody that's not really hitting their skills has a lot of money on them, because you can eventually put the fancy feet on and move around. But if it's a Jinx and it's auto attacks, there's no way that you could deny that damage. You're gonna be getting time and time again just rained down on by the fish bones, which is the rocket attachment of her gun that she can really start to use her range to her advantage as she gets that to level 5.
We have a minute and 20 seconds left of spectator delay.
Some good old integrity checks, making sure nobody's texting nobody on the stage and letting them know, oh, they're in this brush. I seen that they have a pink ward north side of the Baby Baron for 3 minutes. Go clear it out.
Was that always was the delay always in place from the beginning? Did Riot have that foresight, or did they learn from experience to add that in?
Pretty sure ever since I've spectated my friends back when Spectator first dropped, there was that delay. That was just, yeah, that foresight by them.
Excellent. In the old StarCraft days.
Absolutely. Gotta take your lessons from the greats that did it before you. And as we speak on that, we got some greats in front of us today. One more time, going through the lineup, we have Syosset Senior High School, the Syosset Lowell squad. We got Uja, SDQ, Chicken Say What, Wake Up at 8, Flash Forward. And then on the other side of things, the Uniondale Knights. We've got Coach Sanjay leading Aspect Doom, Yamama 680, SX 240 YT, The Ascendants, It's London, baby, and Taraz.
Your mama.
Your mama. Love it. Nothing worse than if your mama starts popping off and you just see your mama has slain your entire team. They're dancing in front of your Nexus, having a good old time as they proxy all your waves. But we'll take one last pan over the beautiful Summoner's Rift before we flash forward, no pun intended, into our matchup between the Syosset Lowell team and the Uniondale Knights Lowell.
I want to hear that.
Well, you don't even have to want it, you just got it.
There it is.
You filling in your own blanks. Mid lane, I don't doubt we'll see a bunch of action popping down right here. Through the fire and flames, another regional champ will be crowned. And we will get to see who becomes the New York State champ after this amazing best of 3.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
I like the sound of that mount.
Oh yeah, that's
The
some chugga
bubbles
chugga
going.
some chugga chugga choo choo. I love this stack here by Uniondale. They're calling out any early aggression by Syosset, and they're prepped for somebody to come face check this bush. But Syosset opted for a 5-man spread. Viego going to be starting on that red buff, so should be clearing a lot faster than this Wukong, who will be starting on the blue. That burn on the auto attacks, and actually Viego backing, going to opt to go to the blue side. So we'll definitely expect to see a level 3 gank coming out from this jungler. Wants to blow a flash from this Jinx early and try to lock down this Braum before it gets tanky and get a kill early onto the Samira pike lane. All right, and here we are off to the races. Simple, easy breezy, beautiful cover girl start to kick these things off, and nobody taking any harass or damage, but the bush setup is in tow. The level 1 hook onto this Jinx. They're gonna go all in. Syosset doing so much damage as well. She is not going to die, but that is so much early pressure to come out. Definitely have to be respectful if you are the Ascendants going in. And there's another hook coming in. Wake Up at 8 got them waking up right on time. The schedule is set and the alarm is blaring. Watch out for these hooks.
Amazing. Instant action. Looked like it was going to be a slow start. They were just waiting, just biding their time.
Yeah, got a lot to pay off there. going to have this Jinx playing so safe early on. But they also did eat a lot of response damage, so it wasn't like it was a freebie. You see all the pops, all the potions are also popped by Samira. But this is such a scary situation to be in every single time you see that hook being pulled out by Pyke. Your heart drops a little bit. You're like, am I about to be the reason that my team loses? They're about to flame me, bro. You gotta walk 90 degrees. You see it come out, 90 degrees. All about those right angles, playing very horizontal around skill shots, especially those vertical line skill shots. Have an idea of where it's going and make it at right angle. That will ensure that you stay safe more often than not. SDQ having some amazing Qs come off that are clearing farm and getting great poke off on the lane opponent. So going to be important for this Cassiopeia to play safe and just scale up. There's no reason to let yourself get harassed away from all this farm, taking unfavorable trades, but that's quite the thirsty. Oh wow, the E was followed underneath the turret, eats the turret, gets the ignite off, but it's not fast enough. There's that response kill in time from Cassiopeia, and honestly, her getting the first blood there is huge. She's gonna be so boosted towards that Rod of Ages, getting that extra 100 gold, and once that gets stacking in the mid lane, it's very dangerous for Syosset. They're gonna have to opt in heavy to top lane or bottom lane, and that becomes very predictable.
Yeah, big disparity in resources all of a sudden from the top.
Yeah, it's really important that Syosset makes the right moves here. All across the board on Uniondale Knights, it is big danger. They are going to have the kind of composition that if they get ahead and are able to mobilize on any objective cohesively, it's a problem. And that's why we're seeing them bring this Pyke up from the bottom lane to try to facilitate something at the same time as Uja with the gank. There's no way you can dodge out on all of this lockdown, knockdown, and unfortunately for the team, the money goes onto the Pyke. It's not the worst place, but you don't want to see that 300 gold jump onto the support. It will be the wave and the experience advantage going SDQ's way. And
poor Tiraz. This is the second time in a row, just getting jumped.
Hey, that's the name of the game. When you lock in immobile carries, that's exactly what the early game's going to look like by a calculated team. And what a skirmish we have popping off here. Those Braum stacks are starting to become dangerous. And Syosset playing with fire, but possibly will get ahead with everything they want and more. Wake up at 8, getting the MVP out here because he is snatching souls.
Wasting no time getting the eliminations from Syosset. And just like that, $2 grand in the lead for gold.
It's such an unfortunate time to take the skirmish there. You know that Syosset is the better early game team. You know that you need to scale if you're Uniondale Knights, but they got baited. Low health people all across the jungle. You have the call out on the rotation from Wake Up at 8, but Pyke is one of the most mobile characters in the entire game. This champion has no care for your lockdown, has no care for your idea of where he wants to be. He's gonna make his own path. And that's exactly what he did. Weave so many hooks through there as well, which at the end of the day got all the kills cleaned up and a massive advantage for Syosset. And I said that they wanted to get a jungler first pick that would facilitate a lot of action, and look who has that 4 out of 5 kill participation. It's Uja, and once again Uja going to the mid lane to kill this Cassiopeia, who has been flashless for 2 minutes, and they still have another 2.5 minutes before that cooldown will be back up. So many revisits that we'll see between this Pyke and this Viego, and it's just becoming so difficult to see a path for this Cassiopeia to get any safety in that time. You're gonna have to rotate up the Braum, rotate up the Wukong.
The bottom lane is locked.
Yes, Samira can safely farm. Even if Pyke goes away from this lane, she can take the farm very safely under the turret. There's no real fear of a dive until the Wukong has been unseen for quite a while on the map. She knows that she's not scared of this Braum and the Jinx coming at her. Not going to be an issue quite yet, but oh, might need to see a pause come in here from Taraz to see a little bit of a DC, possibly a little tech action, but we'll get the scoop on that very shortly. We'll keep you all very, very updated. Early on, you see the advantage Syosset has grown, though. Look at that. It's 3,000, almost 3,000 gold as these waves start to get cleared up. And it's unfortunate to see that early skirmish in the bottom lane becoming such a snowball, such a catalyst for Syosset to start to run away with this, because Uniondale Knights picked all the right pieces. They just got to let them get to the points they need to be.
Yeah, the Syosset seems to be forcing the Knights to play their game. They're not letting them get set up. They're taking the fight to them. They're just going to keep poking them and not letting them to get the resources they need to be ready for a push.
Exactly. Difficult stuff. And now that they're going to have to search for resources and make some attempts where they're stretching their neck out against this Syosset squad, it's going to be so difficult for them. They're going to have to put themselves in high risk, high reward situations, and the high risk is even higher when you see the pockets in the inventories that are about to start coming through at this 10-minute mark, 12-minute mark. But that Cassiopeia has reconnected. The play will resume, and we're still here at the New York region state finals between Syosset Law and Uniondale Knights.
Let's go.
How are you feeling about what you've seen so far, Cups?
I'm loving it. I'm loving the different styles of play. The pace at which Syosset is moving and just playing the game that they want to play. I'm loving seeing these different strats.
Oh, this is an absolute travesty. Even the Ignite to tick, and it's going to be enough SDQ, Ignite, auto attack, every single bit of damage they need. Gonna walk away 3, 1, and 4 after a quick roam to the bot wave, and then still be there in the mid lane to clean up all that farm that Cassiopeia has perfectly rallied up for her.
Only 8 minutes into the match, and we've seen so much already happen.
Yeah, Syosset looking as good as ever. I mean, like I said, these are the defending champions. Once you walk on to the championship rounds, knowing that your title is already yours and that you just have to defend it, the energy hits a little different, and you can tell. That's a big ghost to come out from the top laner here. Going to be so critical to get this kill, and yes, Tataloy is gonna kill this Shen in the top lane, and that is a Darius that now is threatening. You have to be very careful of making this guy into a raid boss. When you have to send 3, 4, 5 people to shut this guy down, where are the other 4 members of the map that don't have to be with Darius? They're out there taking the rest of your base. They're taking objectives that matter. They're getting deep vision inside of your jungle to set up later plays. That's all factors that Syosset has to consider, and we will most likely start to see people mobilizing towards this Darius.
Little Drake action for you.
Nothing like beating up the dragon, especially when it's Infernal. Adds that nice boost to your stats, and that's exactly what the Uniondale Knights need as they want to scale up. All those item breakpoints that they hit are just going to become that much more substantial. And this Darius becoming quite the threat, getting the apprehend there and bringing this Shen close. All that bleed damage starting to become quite annoying for the side of the ninja.
Yeah, check and see what had a little trail behind him when he was walking.
Yeah, that bleed, that blood. You know, when you leave it all on the Rift, you're probably playing against Darius. Love to see it. Love this wave management that we're seeing as well. No heavy push coming out from Totoloy. Just taking the time, making sure that this Shen is always questioning whether or not somebody else might be here, whether or not a quick apprehend out of nowhere might strike him. Making him play on his toes. Cannot lend help to anywhere on the map either, which is the strong suit of this pick. If you're not getting to get ultimates and join your team as Shen, right now hasn't really had to because the team is doing an amazing job without him. But if you're not getting to pull that off, and a massive part of your pick has been nullified.
So with the setup that the Knights have, it seems like they need time to build up their picks and get ready to do a push. At what point does Syosset have to say, okay, we need to have X locked down by X time, you know, or it's gonna go in the other direction? Because they're kind of playing against the clock.
We're gonna go into that right after we finish this gank that both the junglers have arrived to. Nice smite to come out to get some space between Uja and Jotu, but yeah, that is a great question to say. When is this break point, you know, this critical mass, if you will, of the Uniondale Knights team? And it would kind of come at 2-3 items for this Jinx. That's when you would say, as Syosset, we have to be very respectful. We can't take bad fights. We can't try to slap them with our wallets anymore. No matter how far we are ahead, she can put that damage out and cut through the type of stats that these items that we have will permit us to get away with. She will have an answer to that. So we'll have to be very cognizant of that time. As you can tell right now, she only has half an item at 12 minutes in the game. So not a kind of Jinx that anybody's worried about quite yet. She'll be kind of tickling her opponents for the time being. But once we see, no doubt, probably that Kraken Slayer come in, I don't think that she'll go into anything besides that Kraken Slayer. And then the rapid fire cannon and possibly a IE after that. Those will be really difficult places to find yourself in a 5v5 against the Uniondale Knights.
Interesting. I'm anxious to see how they deal with that, and as I say, I feel like as time is clicking up, it seems like Syosset is going to have more and more of a problem on their hands.
Syosset doing a great job though, pushing the early agenda. They are making sure that the lead is grabbed. They're putting pressure at all of the right places. And not only is this Cassiopeia leagues behind the Lissandra in the mid lane, you also have Samira far, far ahead of this Jinx. Turret plates, the kind of gold you can never get back, going the way of Lissandra. And oh, what a great roam to come out from the pike. They get the lock, they get the drop, and not a lot of gold to be distributed because that is a 1 in 5 Cassiopeia, but the Super Mega Death Rocket travels from the bot lane all the way to the mid lane, executing and shutting down SDQ.
That was a heck of a snipe.
Love to see it. And it's going exactly into the correct pockets. You got it going on to the Ascendants. This Jinx is going to be the win condition for Uniondale Knights. Nobody else needs gold besides this Jinx. Everybody else is a supplement to the Jinx carry.
You ever be in a pubs situation and you're seeing the picks and something, you see a newly ranked person pick Jinx, are you kind of like, oh man, because they kind of have to know what they're doing, right?
Well, I think it's a very like, I don't want to say noob friendly character because feels a bit
You can say a
patronizing,
cup of robots friendly character.
It's definitely, you know, something that's more intuitive. You understand all the abilities. It doesn't seem like difficult. And if you watch a couple of guides or gameplay from people that are doing it at the high level, you instantly understand what they're doing. They're staying far away and they're clicking whatever's closest. Very simple, streamlined game plan. all of her skills also very simple. Probably the most difficult one would be cycling her Q. One of them is a really fast minigun of sorts. It makes all of her auto attacks speed up, but there's also, you can move it to the rocket launcher, that fish bones, which increases the attack damage so much. And speaking of increased attack damage, look at the ability that they're having here to just keep this fight knocked up and locked up. Such great disengage and damage being woven through all of these. The Ascendance is starting to pop off. Killing spree in the pockets, and now all of this gold underneath turret as well. Another DC from the Cassiopeia. Actually so unlucky. We'll see if this dive goes through, but so far, SDQ is stuck in between the turrets. Didn't get it through. Gonna destroy, explode Johto, but the Ascendants trying to get woven in between these turrets. That is a great job by SDQ, though, to clean up what was left behind. And the triple kill goes the way of this Lissandra. The first turret goes the way of the bot wave. No matter how valiant the stand was by the Ascendants, they were still able to break his spirit and eventually break the first turret of the game.
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah, this Lissandra was not happy that that Super Mega Death Rocket caught her in the jungle. She's made sure to visit that bottom lane quick and shut that noise down, but it actually will be the Gale Force to come out from this Jinx. Wants a bit more mobility to dodge out the lockdown that Syosset has. So we'll see if that active comes into favor, comes into play, and really benefits the Ascendants later on. But I like the itemization. We're seeing one completed item come through. So I guess 34 minutes is kind of where we're on pace for the Uniondale Knights to be a big problem for Syosset. 34 minutes is what I'll say. If it gets to 34 minutes, Uniondale Knights will start to win fights. And I'll put my name on that, and you know, if it doesn't happen, I'll deal with the repercussions.
All right, well, I've written it down.
Okay, perfect. Hold me accountable. But we're still very questionable if we'll get to 34 minutes. Syosset getting a lot of items. There's 2 full completed items on that Lissandra. We have a Kraken Slayer on the Viego who is still deathless and honestly has not even been seen that much recently. So I have yet to see the effects that this item has really had to do with a duel or a skirmish to come out. So interesting to see where this Viego will go. Looks like the top lane is the destination for now, as Tataloy is under quite a lot of pressure.
We're approaching Worm 30. Always happy to see the Worm.
Yeah, still at baby time, and that's why we're seeing Syosset take it, while the kind of like a trade for that bottom lane. Gonna no doubt want to use this to break open that top lane, the last remaining turret on the outer ring, and it's going to be very easy to do with Baby Baron in tow. Oh, such a great dodge by SDQ on the Miasma. Gonna be able to totally avoid the petrifying gaze, sidestep around the Miasma, and get the kill as well. Such beautiful play. That petrifying gaze that Taraz has, the ultimate ability of Cassiopeia, it stuns.
Yep. We have finally some worm action. This is the Cup of Robots' favorite part of the match. the worm, the high-risk worm encounter.
Perfect 21 minute Baron. They're going to be able to grab that as well. Syosset feeling great off that. Execute to come in from the pike and everything. Clean up duty to follow. All the members low health, but nobody there to clean it up. And that is going to be a big win for the team. That is going to be, no doubt, an ace, like an ace up the sleeve. They can really start to push this lead and take all these remaining standing gold turrets. They can take this dragon as well and start to put a Dragon Soul timer on. Uja already there to start to tick down on that Mountain Drake, and things are looking bright for the Syosset Lowell squad.
Absolutely amazing. The turn that the match takes with the momentum that starts to pick up around this 22-minute mark.
Oh man, and they have the Baron plus the Rift Herald. This is the deadliest combo in the game right here. You can see teams end the game at 22, 23 minutes with this combination because it is just so potent, and they're even gonna start a fight on the other side. It's Rise of Uniondale to try to evade this, but oh no, Taraz actually gonna be right back into the vortex. Unfortunately for Johto, he cannot get the knockup. He cannot evade this damage. He's gonna get sharked and put into the slaughter just like the rest of his team, and there is way too much pressure in the middle and the bottom side of the map. We're seeing Tataloy try to split push, but at what cost? You're gonna see so many structures start to fall across the map.
I think everybody on Syosset is on a spree of at some level.
Yeah, besides Chicken Say What, who's just on a spree of being a menace to this Darius. There's exactly that. So many just high KD members there got all the assists, all the kills, and very low death score across. But that makes for a great opportunity for Uniondale. They can start to group together after this Baron buff goes away and start to clear off these gold bounties. Unfortunately for the Jinx, she's just moments away from this IE. They won't want to see any fights forced before that time.
It's time for Uniondale to ring it in, but also keep doing what they're doing because they're only minutes away from the deadline you've given them.
Yeah, 10 minutes. Hold true for 10 more minutes. Win some fights, and you can see them getting so much back that they've lost. But for the meantime, lost is not what they want to see of this game, and that's why the Braum has been here for the reinforcements on Tataloy. Tataloy staying alive for the time being. Chicken Say What though? Killing Johto as everybody collapsed on that Wukong, who just wants to disrupt and knock up. It's not enough though. Just provides a bit of time for the Darius to put his tail between his legs and run back to the fountain for health.
I think it was 2 times in a row we saw Chicken Say What take down Johto in the last 5 minutes.
Tough times and fast times. No Ridgemont High. Going to be a very scary death ball rotating towards the mid lane here of Syosset. They're going to try to take this mid lane turret. The last vestige of strength here for Uniondale to stand behind before that inhibitor is taken, and that's why you're seeing them take it so seriously. They have to make sure that they do not lose this structure and start to lose those mid lane pressure that they can get with those super minions coming in. The Baron no longer a factor. Rift Herald off the map. Both of those timers synchronized as well on the Baron and the Dragon, so could be a trade of the objective. Uniondale Knights unfortunately not really having the damage that they need to knock down the Baron in response very quickly. They might just put themselves in a checkmate situation if they try to trade that, so we'll most likely see them try to meet them at one of these objectives. Possibly would have a great chance of doing some real damage and at least taking some Barons off the board if they meet them at the Baron pit and start to initiate a fight after that debuff has been put on. And that's why we're seeing the vision being placed to try to see when Syosset will rotate there, try to get a good call out of a team fight.
Meet me at the Baron.
It's going down at the Worm after school. 1 more minute until that objective spawns. Wake up at 8, doing that thing and clearing out so much of the vision that was just placed. Missing that pink ward there, that's a huge advantage for the Uniondale Knights.
The resource disparity is really starting to increase here.
Well, that is no more Jinx. That is no more Uniondale Knights, as it looks like the whole team is just going to continue to put out the damage. SDQ going pretty deep. Gonna go and re-back to the fountain after taking a little bit too much damage there. That mid lane turret still standing after all this time. Might start to bite Syosset in the butt if they're not able to clear this, and that's why we may see them prioritize in the next few minutes, but they have these objectives to fall back onto. 10 seconds until the Baron, 12 seconds until the Mountain Drake, and plenty of gold in the wallets to spend. Jotu going a little bit too deep, trying to clear that vision out, and that is the jungler cleared right before the objectives. Oh, unlucky for the Wukong, called out and caught out. And that is a quick rotation that we'll see come out from Syosset, as they have no Baron threat to worry about from the Uniondale Knights. I mean, the Super Mega Death Rocket could steal, but no tried and true damage like that smite.
This looks like it could be the nail in the coffin for the Knights here with this Baron get.
They will trade it for the Mountain Drake, which is exactly what you love to see. An active team. That's the comms that you want to be making. Those are the trades that you want to be taking. And unfortunately for the Darius, he is too far up the lane. Knowing that that Pyke and all of his friends are just coming from Baron, you definitely want to be closer to your team who could allow some aid if needed, but there's no aid to be had. And speaking of aid, Cassiopeia looking like the miasma could take down the Pyke, but what's left to follow will be a trade. Legendary is the Lissandra, and she will be continuing to press that bottom wave up, possibly threaten taking that turret as everybody's focused in the mid lane on Samira.
They're each, I don't know, Knights are 2 men down, at least for the next 6 seconds. We got 15 seconds on Wake Up at 8's return. Still could be the time to go.
The siege has finally worked. They've been batting on this mid lane turret for what seems like minutes, hours. But they finally get the structure to fall. They then rotate to the bot wave with a great wave timing that the Lissandra set up, and they're able to continue to put more pressure on these waves. That is a huge ulti to come out from the Wukong, the Cyclone knocking everybody up, but that's an S-rank Samira going in deep and doing the damage. Double kill for this Lissandra. Triple kill, quadra kill. Will it be the Penta? No, they're not going to give it. Jinx will be inside of the turret, making things difficult to take, but Diego, Uja, they're going to possibly stack up to let the pentakill happen. But what am I saying? SDQ is dead. Dead to rights this whole time. Thought this was somebody that's just kicking in the back line waiting, but there's nowhere to kick it. There's nowhere to hide if you are the Uniondale Knights, because there are no more structures in your base. There is Baron buff minions knocking down your Nexus, and even though the Ascendants could trade a kill, they could not clear all these threats out of the base. That is one on the board for Syosset in a big victory screen for the squad.
That was that was intense, and I love to see Syosset with that map control and just playing the game exactly the way that they wanted to play it. And they didn't. The Uniondale Knights did not make your 32-minute mark. They just made that 32 minutes.
30, I think it was 34, but yeah, difficult times on the horizon for those guys. It was such a difficult fight to try to think about how they could claw back into that game, as you know, we go back in the game all the way to that first skirmish that kind of put it up 5-1 in the bot lane. They just gave away so much with that. There was now the aggression in the bot lane that could not be checked. The Viego was fully unleashed. This man was all over the map doing all types of damage, causing havoc everywhere he wanted to be, facilitating so much chaos for the Uniondale Knights. They were never able really to get their footing, even though they did get a couple good fights in there. We saw the glimmers of hope. They cannot give away that much real estate early in the next game.
Absolutely. What else do you think that Uniondale needs to do to combat this very aggressive team?
Yeah, I mean, you just can't autopilot. At the end of the day, you have to think about who's in the lane. Last time you saw every single person have to be communicating that in your comms vehemently. Everybody needs to be on the same page because it's easy to forget stuff. A lot of things are happening, a lot of characters and skills and cooldowns to keep account of. You have to make sure that the critical information is getting put out at all times, and we'll see if that, you know, kind of leads to Uniondale being able to find some stronger footing through the mid game here in game number 2. But Sayase just doing what they did in the fall, getting some aggressive plays to work out really well for them and making things difficult at every single turn. Great stuff by the squad, and they're seeing themselves up 1-0 off of that first game.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be really cool to see the response from the Knights on this next. We got the players entering the game as we speak. Just a couple more minutes, and then we're going to get into the ban phase, the ban and pick phase of this second round.
I think that everybody is going to be getting their notes together, looking through, you know, what they did and getting some great depress from the coach, because both of these squads having some amazing coaches. You could just tell from the draft and from the mentalities that they've crafted in these players. But while they do that, we're going to go to a quick break, let everybody get some water, grab a snack, and we'll see you with game 2 of the New York Region State Finals.
Come back to PlayVS coverage of the New York region League of Legends Finals. We are getting ready for game 2 here. Players are joining the lobby, and looking forward to what we have in store for us for this counterattack from Uniondale Knights. Definitely looks like they're going to have to switch something up and to counter the aggressiveness of Sayase, and I'm really anxious to see what they do. Because they have it in them. I can see they had it in them. They just didn't quite have enough time to set up their offense.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Uniondale. Like, Uja gets his hands on Viego first pick, and that is just, you know, at the end of the day, you know, putting yourself in one of the worst situations that you could do. Uniondale Knights just cultivates a roster of aggressive carries, and I mean, Sayase has a roster of aggressive carries, and they have done such an amazing job really making the playstyles of all those aggressive players very cohesive. You know, they are on the same page. They are going to rotate. They are going to get a 3v1 situation on you. You have to be ready for that. You have to be mindful of every single piece of the puzzle on the map at all times. And, you know, it's difficult when you have a lot of people that you have to keep a mind on when you're playing against Sayase.
See these bands. Let me see these bands. We got a Jinx band.
This has to be the Viego band to come out. Has to be. Yeah, that Jinx was scary, man. You know, at the end of the, oh wow, they're leaving the Viego open, so maybe gonna want to leave that for their own pick, perhaps, to take it off the board for Sayase, and then also still keep it as the powerful pick that it is in their own hands. But be interesting if they just threw that right back to Uja after that. Really clean performance, facilitating a lot of those early advantages for his squad.
Gonna take the full clock. There
First pick Samira. Okay. Super interesting. I mean, at the end of the day, it was on the enemy team. Kind of a takeaway pick. But this double up right here, I could imagine two massive lock-ins to come in from the side of Sayase. They're like, oh, you're allowing us all this space to do what we want to do? Okay, we'll take it. They did take away the Kha'Zix and now the Lissandra, but Kaisa and Thresh, a power duo. So clean to have this Thresh instead of the Pyke. Now you have the safety even more so. The Pyke is great at getting the kills and executing, distributing that gold, but the Thresh so potent with that lantern. You start to see those death sentences connect on top of that. Even more sauce inside of this spaghetti that Uniondale Knights are going to have to eat up, and it might be too much for them to stomach.
Got a Blitzcrank there. Fan of Blitzcrank just purely because he's a robot and my people.
Hey, the rolling golem gathers no rust, man. You keep that guy going, you keep that golem pushing, and he is really the bane to a game plan's existence. You know, if you have a plan and Blitzcrank hooks the plan, it's over. There's nothing you could do. He hits them, he knocks them up, he silences them, the rest of the team piles in, and whoever you thought you were going to carry the game with is now taken off of the map. And that's a great response pick to come out from Uniondale Knights. Jarvan, a huge pick in the jungle that will facilitate a lot of early responses, and Lee Sin, the carry himself, the blind monk, going to be the jungle pick for Sayase. Getting some love for the Ascendants in chat. Ascendants, yeah, getting some target bans out, taking away the Aphelios and the Jinx from that player because they are not trying to see any hyper carry performances from that bot laner. Some great stuff on the Jinx. We saw the glimmers of hope. We saw the opportunities, but Sayase kept the cool head and they were able to push their advantage far enough and get that dub.
At a final ban here for Sayase.
Heavily targeted at that top lane. No Darius, no Tataloy, no Jax. The Fizz taken away for SDQ. See what else is taken off of the board for Sayase, and it's going to be the Rumble. They know that Rumble is absolutely menacing. And it is not going to be afforded the space here on Summoner's Rift today. 2 games banned, 100% ban rate on that mechanic. Yone! Oh no. I'm okay. I was like, oh no, I'm quaking in my boots. That man is scary, scary play. High risk, high reward in the fullest, but they're gonna go with the easy breezy Shen pick. This is so nice and honestly just plays itself. You know exactly what to do when you're playing this character. He has escapes, you can make it that you can dodge attacks, you know how to use your ultimate and go help out the homies when they're feeling low. Just TP back to the top lane if you go the TP route, or you can go the Ignite route and just afford that much more utility to the team. But Mordekaiser will be battling it out against Shen in that top lane, and honestly that's a great counter pick. The Shen is going to have a bad time having to deal with this Mordekaiser. And Vex locked in. Wow, Uniondale Knights pulling everything out. Vex is a very interesting character. We're gonna have to do our homework a bit because even I have trouble following this character sometimes. Definitely one of the newer characters in the league, and has a kit unlike anyone else. Alright, and now we have the final pick from Sayase. It will be that Syndra to be locked in. Very interesting. Syndra versus the Vex. I've never seen this matchup. I've never commentated this matchup, but we're going to get to see who comes out ahead. SDQ showing off earlier in the game, having an amazing time running through the mid lane. Interesting to see if that will be the same kind of experience that we see here, or if Taraz on this Vex pick will be able to change the narrative, flip the script, have this Jarvan hovering around and punish this immobile laner of the Syndra.
Her passive is Doom and Gloom. Periodically, Vex becomes empowered by Doom, causing her next basic ability to interrupt dashes and fear enemies.
Yeah, such a unique passive, and then on top of that, you have that projectile, the Mistral Bolt, the Q, that it has that very unique characteristic, that very unique movement speed where it kind of slows down on initial cast and then speeds up on first contact. So going to be super exciting to see if this pick really makes up, you know, the kind of ground that it needed to. Last game, the Alessandra was doing insane work in the matchup, made the mid lane honestly obsolete through the mid game because of how many times that Pyke was rotated up to dive and put that laner behind. So you know, the Cassiopeia didn't work out. Hopefully this Vex does, because it's very interesting pick. I think that it's one of the more innovative characters that Riot came out with recently, and kind of being unique and disrupting different flows of the game than usual. So interested to see if this pick plays off, and if Taraz is going to pilot it at that level that it needs to be.
Yeah, Vex seems really interesting to me. Her other passive, Gloom, will mark an enemy, any enemy that dashes or blinks near her, and mark them with Gloom. And then her next basic attack will do bonus damage on the marked person because it detonates the mark, and it refunds part of her other passive's cooldown.
Exactly. So many things going into play with that character.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, and her personal space, her W, detonates shockwave that gives her more gloom.
Yeah, we'll see that usually leveled last on the character. People usually dedicating those first points in their skills to that Q in the W, but yeah, the E also an amazing skill. And then the ultimate as well.
Gloomy Darkness, and then the Shadow Surge with the R. Yeah, she seems like really a pain in the butt.
100%.
I'm really honestly living up to her name.
it's kind of the, you know, you don't see her at the highest level of play due to the fact that it's kind of difficult to pull off. You know, of course there are a lot of intricate aspects to the kit, but you know, to make them play off for yourself, the optimal situations at all the times is not feasible. You know, you're not always going to be you know, able to find the best situations for yourself, but you're able to find a lot of good ones, especially when people aren't good at playing around Vex. This is a character that can weave in and out of the fights. Once that Shadow Surge starts popping off and you get those recasts and those cooldowns, those resets, it can become way too difficult to manage, especially with all the other tools that were drafted by the Uniondale Knights. But we've talked about Vex quite enough. That's going to be a huge factor of this game. But at the end of the day, this is a 5v5 experience. It's Uniondale Knights do or die game as they face Syosset LOL here in game 2 of the New York Region Finals. And let me get some hype. If you're hearing us in the arena, or if you're here in the chat for the squad that you want to see win, all of these athletes doing an amazing job getting to this point, but one team is going to walk away a victor.
Gonna be awesome. It's good. This could be it. This could be the last one if the Knights don't counter. But I have faith that they will be able to pull one out here. I think they learned a lot last match.
Well, we're going to get our sample right now as Uniondale Knights, Tataloy, Jotu, Taraz, the Ascendants, and It's London, baby, take on Chicken Say What, Wuja, SDQ, Flash Forward, and Wake Up at 8 from Syosset LOL, the defending New York Region champs, sitting up 1-0.
Seconds until minions spawn.
And who was the pick against Vex?
Gonna be that Syndra.
Syndra.
Yeah, this is a very volatile mid lane pick. If she's able to get those dark spheres to start to stack up and start to hit those Qs and deny UCS, get you low. She hits that level 6, it's instant death every time. And then it's rinse repeat from there. She can just continue to dominate her lane and then spread that chaos throughout the map. So important here for Taraz to hold their own and really make sure that this Syndra does not become unlocked. Love this Mordekaiser skin. Absolutely decked out. Big body boy in the top lane. Going to be trying to be just exactly as I described Syndra to his matchup in the top lane. Be that rinse and repeat mega killer that can just have a 4-level advantage and 100 CS gap on his opponent.
This is really interesting. The I'm looking at tier lists because, you know, it's the best thing to do.
Who doesn't love a good tier list, man?
Doesn't
I'll make
love
one right
it.
now with you. The cup of Osti tier list.
Yeah, it looks like Jinx is the top of their S+.
It's like an insurance policy, honestly. You're like, hey, if we could weather the storm, even if we're not as good, we can use that Jinx, and she's gonna do something for us.
Blitzcrank, who we're seeing on the field, number 7, still an S+ tier.
Yeah, you don't really see Blitzcrank at the highest laugh. I mean, at the highest level. I said laugh as King of Beans calls your laugh the Doflamingo laugh. I'm dying. if you know the One Piece, it's a One Piece reference. But I can't really speak on that because Wake Up at 8 is trying to hit the death sentence on this London baby, but possibly having a death sentence of their own, needing a huge response as Jotu shows up just in time. No death on the Blitzcrank, and plenty of cooldowns expended. Every single cooldown besides the exhaust expended in Tataloi, becoming the first blood king in the top lane. Gonna get the kill after the flash, and look at the hook onto Wake Up at 8. That is exactly what Uniondale Knights need, and they have it. An early lead, and that's 2-0.
We saw the Knights get off to an early lead last match as well, if I remember correctly.
It was like an early trade. Like Cassiopeia was killed, but like the over-aggression by SDQ was punished by the tower. The tower did the extra damage that kind of made them get the first kill, but the tempo, the pressure, the actual kill went in the favor of SDQ. Taraz just kind of was able to pick up some pieces. Great job dodging that out. There's no mana on either of these mid laners. SDQ doing a lot with what they have left though. Proccing all of these skills off. The fancy feet are locked in by Taraz though, doing a good job denying some of this damage. But the CS lead is definitely in the favor of this Syndra, and understandably so. She's a lot easier to CS on. Early lead though, the way of Uniondale Knights. We love to see it if you are a UHS fan, and I'm seeing some of them coming alive in the chat. They have their ducks in a row, for lack of a better phrase, and they're going to be able to move forward into this early game feeling very confident. Okay, we done a little bit. We got our foot in the door, but job not done. There are still so many turns and so many choices that need to be made, and the correct ones are going to need to be made, or they will unfortunately get called out. Syosset is not a team to be trifled with, and not a team to be autopiloted.
Top and bottom lane seeing a ton of action right now. We got a dragon.
What a great early dragon in response from Syosset. They are starting this dragon timer insanely early for a soul if they're able to get through these on spawn. It's London baby getting called out with that death sentence, and Uja brought over the wall with the lantern, but not going to be enough. There is a little bit too much tankiness on that Blitzcrank for the team to want to dive in on. So they're going to disengage that, take their prize in the dragon, and get this Lee Sin back rotating through this jungle, clearing these camps on spawn. Uh-oh. Danger zone here for Taraz. Gonna have to take the long way home as Syndra cuts off that easy access back to the lane. Level 6 on this Syndra, so anytime could see that ultimate come out. Hex Flash from It's London, baby. You're on vision, but it doesn't matter. Got a great angle here. Wake up at 8 under pressure. Going to be a wonderful hook to come out from onto Flash forward. Going to get so much damage onto this Kaisa. Can they kill her though?
Oh.
Yes, it will be enough. That will be Johto with the kill, but the response is there from Wake Up at 8. That Thresh, just enough damage. And Chicken say what? In such a difficult matchup today on this Shen. First the Darius and now the Mordekaiser, but playing it amazingly. Taking the XP, giving up CS, not taking too much health, and definitely not giving away kills. Taraz as well, doing a great job this game, not having to deal with the pressure from every single person visiting the lane, not dealing with that Viego and the Pike on spawn, having to pressure her. Now it's going to be on this Vex and staying alive all the way into 7-minute mark. Chicken say what? Thinking like Chicken say die, as Uja is rotating up, but Tataloi doing an amazing job thus far, keeping it safe, but Uja is in danger. Oh no, unfortunately for Tataloi, the passive drops off at the worst time possible, and that's gonna be Chicken say what? Finally getting the killing blow on this big lane bully who has been pressuring him all day.
Just Chicken Say What is just here building his highlight reel all day.
Okay. That was the power of Demacia. That man said, justice finds you, bro. Taking care of business. Love to see it. Great catch there by this now 2-0 and 1 Jarvan that Johto has locked in. Uniondale off to an amazing start. SDQ looking for this kill. Oh, actually does get it to hit. The E connecting, possibly putting Taraz in that kill range, but SDQ not having enough dark spheres to really boost the damage that that ultimate does. Didn't have enough active spheres on the ground. We'll be looking for this kill though. You can tell, you can see the shark fishing for the blood. And that's why you're seeing Johto rotate straight towards that mid lane. This is a very immobile pick on the Syndra, has a flash. But Johto is starting to cheat up that wave. We'll be going right past the Raptors. Oh, the bait is too long. Taraz not going to be able to withstand that much pressure for that long. And Chicken say what is getting bullied now that there's nobody to help him. Where's your friend at? Says Tataloi as he continues to rain down damage on top of that ninja.
Sniper team wasting any time. It does look like though the same thing that we saw before with the knights up at the beginning, and then Syosset just comes in and starts getting into their groove.
Yo, Johto is like, yeah, I'm in here. In his bag. I'm taking us to game 3. There's no way we're dropping this. And Johto flashing for that kill there onto the Syndra. No response flash. Kind of interesting for them to see, but just wanted to save it for later, I guess. Speaking of that, no flashes yet in this bot lane exchange, but a lot of damage to come out. And there's Johto right on time, continuing to get the kills secured, but they're secured onto the Blitzcrank. No, we don't want Blitzcrank with all that money. It's not a bad place to have it. End of the day, you'd love to see it onto that Samira to accelerate those items that much quicker.
Robots are greedy.
The AI only knows confirm.
Yes.
Uniondale coming alive. Oh, the spheres are stacked. The ultimate is off cooldown right there. Perfect timing, SDQ. The response was a little scary, but had the ult coming off on cooldown. And I had mentioned earlier that the mid lane could become an ult on cooldown and kill the mid lane opponent on spawn. And it's kind of doing that right now. 2-1 after 2 ultimates. We'll see if when it comes back up that happens again. You know, twice is a coincidence, but third time, that's a habit. response Drake from the Uniondale Knights. They're gonna stunt that timer that Syosset had kind of started very early. That death sentence, scary, almost flashes right into the hook. Unfortunate. If Wake Up at 8 would have died in that way, he would have no doubt had a big moral defeat more than anything. Just being like, what? Why am I trigger happy? What am I doing?
But a keyboard flip.
Yeah, a little bit
For
of
sure.
anticipatory fingers instead of reactionary fingers. When you can react to that Blitzcrank hook, you know, it's not insanely fast. You see the animation, you see the windup, you see which direction his body is facing, and that's where it's going. Gotta condition yourself to have that response to a Blitzcrank, because if not, you can feel like the scariest character in the game. You just, you know, always walking into hooks. He's in your head. Ooh, gonna be bringing him down to the depths. But unfortunately for Tatalo, he's right within turret range, and Uja was already rotating up. There's some stats stolen by this Mordekaiser, so you have to be careful if you're Uja. Unfortunately for him, the Q is not going to connect. The Sonic kick is not going to be there, and he misses the second one too. Unfortunate. Tatalo is going to have so much pressure now in that top lane. Already had the Rylai's Crystal Scepter, and now will be able to go back to base and get another item added onto that. Even threatening more turret plates as well right now, because he's not afraid of what this Shen is going to bring to the lane in terms of damage. And that is Uniondale Knights running away with game 2. Straight to the bot lane. Can't even take a moment to breathe because the Ascendance is popping off in S-rank style. Eats the damage in response though, and that is going to be a huge kill for Flash Forward. If he's able to also jump onto London Baby here, the hook is dodged, and that is going to be the disengage sign for Syosset. They know that Jarvan is rotating down. They know that this Demacian Justice is nearby, and they still play too close. They play too close to the fire. Unfortunate for them. They're going to now keep the double kill and feed this Jarvan even further. Already has a Gore Drinker, and is now 5-0 and 3, can go back and get anything they want.
Looks like the Knights have figured out what they needed to do against Syosset here.
We are definitely seeing why Uniondale got to this point. Gonna force the flash out there. Taraz put into a check situation, and good job on this Vex to have the quick finger there, because another kill would have just been so devastating. They have such a good lead right now. They do not want to give away any real estate. If they continue to put this gas the right way, there's nothing that the Syosset squad can do. Terrifying Mordekaiser. If he's beating up the minions like that, I hate to see what he's doing to champions and towers.
She can say what's about to find out.
Those Qs are vicious. Getting so much work accomplished in this top lane. London Baby sitting on a ward, and London Baby going to be shut down because of the earlier double kill that was given his way. Going to be important for them to try to get rid of this raid boss, but SDQ is inside of the death realm, going to be able to withstand the pressure, and that is massive. There are no stats stolen by this Mordekaiser, so he is weak, and now he is ultimateless. He's going to have such a big shield if he's able to withstand more damage, and just like that, there's the shield going to go back in and do so much. That is the Conqueror, that is the damage, and that is the double kill going the way of the Mordekaiser.
Wow. I think at one point he was just down to like a health point there. That was awesome.
Wow. Beautiful stuff to come out from Tataloy. Going to get rewarded this structure as well. Taking the top lane turret, the first turret for the Uniondale Knights, and that will be the rally sign. Rally to me. We shall take game 2 on my shoulders. Beautiful stuff.
Almost had our first tower down.
Yeah, they are. That's extra credit, you know. That's just all this stuff is extra. They have such a lead right now. They haven't even spent the money that they've earned, which is dangerous. You know, you want to go back and spend that money when when you get it, because it's not in play until you spend it. Speaking of in play, there is an advance from a Blitzcrank in play, but ooh, that is not the cue you want to eat if you are the Samira player. That's going to be a big kill. Wake Up at 8 is going to unfortunately secure it, but doesn't matter. They're going to keep pushing on to It's London Baby. The Blitzcrank will no doubt fall, and Uja will be the one who credited that kill. Ooh, okay. Show me some. Pop off. Like, but follow that, do a little lantern, do a little jack. No need though. Already hit the style points. No need to go further. Tataloi is just a one-man army as well in the mid lane. SDQ just tickling this Mordekaiser, and that is why we're seeing the kill come through. Unfortunate. You got too close to the fire and it burned you. Oh no, do not do this. Don't do it, y'all. Oh, I feel so. Don't watch. Oh no, okay. They brought enough. They brought enough, right? Okay, bro.
Wow. Barely.
Yeah, if that Blitzcrank gets there, it's the saddest day you ever seen. But that was a 3-4-1, so there is so much space allowed by the squad. You're gonna see the Samira here clean up the rest, as both double buffs are secure, but Uja actually does a great job ignoring the noise, focusing on the prize, and getting the kill to make sure this Samira does not come a problem. Top lane, rotated on by Taraz, gonna get that second tier turret and going to be now sitting only 3,000 gold ahead, which isn't too much considering how big Uniondale Knights have been able to play here in game 2. Only 3,000 gold is definitely not telling of the story.
Yeah, it seems like the gap is being closed pretty quickly.
I mean, there is a Kaisa free farming in the bot lane. You're seeing Samira not having farmed as much. Went to go try to clear up that mid lane fight and ended up dying. So now 20 CS goes the way of the Kaisa. She starts to get more levels as she got to do all that solo as well. She's sitting up level 10 to level 9. So going to be very scary if she hits that level 10. I mean, hits that level 11 and the Killer Instinct is at level 2 before the Ascendance is able to get to level 11 here on the Samira. As they group and fight around a dragon. Could be a very bad time for the Uniondale Knights. MVP has to go this game to Jotu though. Such a cleanup from game number 1. And facilitating so much around the map here on the Jarvan. There's going to be a big shutdown, big kill onto Taraz to initiate this team fight here. But in the backline is Jotu going godlike. But the shutdown, inevitable. Oh, the flag, the drag, not enough. The shutdown goes the way of this Kaisa, and everything that the Uniondale Knights kind of built up falling way in front of their face right now. Sayase getting a wonderful team fight in the mid lane, and now Chicken Say What kind of baiting in Tatalua here. If you can press him here for a little bit longer while the team pushes the mid lane, they will have time to rotate and get a kill as well onto this Mordekaiser, which would allow them to take that bot lane turret 1. Not gonna happen though. Tatalua pressing the neck and getting the first of these turrets to trade, or the turrets in response, as the 3 in the mid lane have it at the exact same time. That Blitzcrank skin is crazy, bro.
It's pretty awesome.
That man was dissembling in front of us. Flash forward. A couple more minutes. Round the dragon as well. 3 pink wards. Steady vision and sneaky trade though. They know that Sayase wants to go towards that. And they're gonna bring over everyone to do this Baron right now. They're thinking, oh, Tatalua is dead. There's no way they're gonna try to 4-man the Baron. Let's just take this dragon. What a great game sense here from Uniondale Knights. They're able to sneak away this Baron. And they're already ahead in gold. Now the stats are relatively even though. 2 Infernal Drakes. We have ourselves a banger of a game here in game 2. It's really on Uniondale Knights to win here or lose the game.
So we're just not going to talk about the robot with the dancing kittens.
We could talk about it.
I mean, did you not see that happening near the worm?
Oh yeah,
That was amazing.
Yeah, the recall animation is gorgeous. This is the best Blitzcrank skin, no doubt. I like the iRobot Blitzcrank skin. I don't even know what it's really called. I just see iRobot whenever I see it.
I didn't realize there was a cat sitting in his
Yeah,
arm.
that's controlling him.
This is the best skin of any game ever.
This is the best skin of any game ever.
You heard her here first, folks. A robot being controlled by kittens.
You're gonna have to change it into Cup of Kittens.
That's gonna happen.
She can say, what? Gonna make Tataloy's life annoying under this tower, but not annoying enough. He's got the Baron minions aiding in this push. There's a Blitzcrank lurking over this tower. Gets a pull. It looks like onto the Kaisa. Yeah, it will be. Flash forward. Yank joined over the wall and with the Baron as well. That might be enough, but look at the flank from SDQ. Wow. Huge damage to come out. I cannot believe it, and neither can the Uniondale Knights as all of them sit gray screen, wondering, scratching their head. That was our fight.
That's
was our Baron.
Nuts. And just like that, we're basically tied up.
More than tied up. As in, Sayase has a huge lead, and the tempo is completely in their advantage. They have nullified the Baron that was secured. They've taken it off the map of every meaningful member, and now the timer on it, they're not going to be able to rally and make a meaningful advantage with it. They're even getting counter jungled on while they had the Baron. Blue buff donated to the Syndra, increased mana regen and cooldowns. Just so many tools in the pockets, and the storm has ultimately been weathered. Last time it was on the Uniondale Knights to weather the storm. In this game, Sayase did what they were unable to do in the game previous, and it looks like they might start winning these fights. It looks like they might be able to mount together, push some 5v5 experiences, and get a win here in game number 2. It is on UHS to make it happen here. And you can tell that is on their minds. Jotu looking to try to catch out the 2 straggling members in the top lane there, but it's going to be force pushed away by SDQ. That Syndra pick paying off dividends, and wow, I could just replay that flank a million times there in the mid lane because it was beautiful. Getting off so much damage, isolating and disrupting, and beautiful stuff. Such a level and calm experience from the Sayase squad, even though they found themselves so far behind.
The iRobot skin is called iBlitzcrank.
Oh, so it is iRobot. Just replace the robot for Blitzcrank. Yeah, love Blitzcrank. One of the OGs in the roster. Always been one of those fun picks too. If you ever just wanted to have fun on the Rift, lock in support, pick Blitzcrank. Don't hook the tank, and have a wonderful day. Nothing worse than like your Blitzcrank bringing the person that wants to get closer to your team right into your backline. You're like, oh great, thank you Blitzcrank. I love this experience. Oh, great stuff coming out there, but the flash keeps Taras safe for the time being in the bot lane. The collapse is in onto the Kaisa in the jungle though. Great catch from UHS. They are going to be awarded a big trophy in that tier 2. Nobody here to repel this push, and yeah, with the Samira there and the flag being placed down, it's going to be plenty of attack speed boosts for them to utilize. Get that taken care of. That is a scary Syndra. Wouldn't want that to be the Syndra I have to go up against. And you can tell that Taraz doesn't want to go up against him either. Run away on sight. This is the Soul Drake being taken here. Yeah, going to be a great job there by UHS, even though they lose the Vex in the bot lane. Pushing up on that Drake so that they could deny the Infernal Soul, which would have been, no doubt, the final nail in the coffin. Way too much damage at that point. You cannot even imagine trying to stand up to a Kaisa or this Syndra with that steroid inbound. It's going to be 5 minutes at least on the timer for them to secure that objective.
Not to change subject, but I did just find out some very important news.
What's going down?
It is the Blitzcrank skin here is being controlled by 2 cats named Blitz and Crank.
If that's not the most important information of the broadcast, I don't know what was.
It's officially the #1 skin for Blitzcrank, according to LeagueFeed.net.
Has to be. This thing is gorgeous. It's probably only like $20 too. Not too bad.
I don't know. Its only con is that it's expensive. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't matter. I need it.
It's probably like 20, 25 bucks. You're like, I'm not even playing Blitzcrank, but I just want to see how much.
Yeah, I just want to be able to look at the animations and stuff whenever I want.
Well, speaking of animations, a lot of them about to go down now as the skills start flying out. The red team has secured Baron Nashor. That means Syosset is trying to get out of dodge with those in tow. Will they be able to make space for the team?
The Black Hawk down situation is happening right now.
Trade of everyone. This Syndra's damage, though, is undeniable. And if Syndra is alive, Syndra is going to thrive. And just like that, that is a Baron secured, an ace for the team, and possibly the last moments we will see Uniondale Knights sit in this grand finals because Syosset Lowell are looking at the Nexus.
We are on the way. Walking down the Yellow Brick Road, going to the Emerald Castle. Emerald City. There it is.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't see no man behind the curtain operating the whole thing. They're like, wait, this was scripted for us to win? I thought I came here for courage.
The whole time. I wanted a heart.
I needed oil can. Alright, well, the push was staved off for now. The Baron is still secured. The fight was won. Uniondale Knights able to lick their wounds, recount their barricades, and see what's left standing for them. Going to be scary to face check any bush. The stopwatch used at a perfect time and the flash to follow even better times. And that is going to be a Blitzcrank that's left alive for a time being, but there's quite a discrepancy in those cooldown timers. A flash is going to take about 5 minutes. All of that Syndra stuff is already back up, besides the ultimate. But the ultimate's halfway back up, which is crazy to think about. Terrifying if you are on the Uniondale Knights. That is a death bomb of a carry, and she even has the Dark Seal. Possibly transition that into the Magi's, which when that gets fully stacked, what can you do? A fully stacked Magi's with an Infernal Soul? There's no damage calcs that you can do. Even the tankiest of tanks fall to that type of damage.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
Johto rising to the occasion for Uniondale Knights, but will they be able to continue that initial fervor? Will they be able to execute some meaningful carries on the side of Syosset before they're able to get the damage off, before they're able to get those kills? Will Tataloi be able to continue to be this raid boss? We can't discredit this Mordekaiser, who now has a Spirit Visage and plenty of other items. Demonic Mask, a stopwatch even, to prolong the amount of time that you have to spend worrying about this guy. Johto eating a death sentence, getting found there in the blue side jungle. But they want to be there with their forefront of pressure on this dragon.
And we are creeping through the jungle. They're going to take another stab at that base, it looks like, any time now.
Syosset taking the dragon here is the only thing on their mind. They're not going to be over aggressive. They want to push away everyone from Uniondale Knights. Just like this. Get some meaningful kills and get the dragon. But look at this response.
Wow.
They've got themselves into this choke point. They've funneled up, and there's going to be Pataloid, the only remaining survivor on the squad, as Sias' squad have knocked down every single competitor. Huge shield to come out from the Shen just in the nick of time.
Another team wipe.
So much work being done by this team. Chicken say what, being the first person to start pelting down on these towers, but couple robots, spectators, production, I think that is all she wrote. There is not enough time on the clock for even the minions. If the minions were the only people putting damage on that Nexus, they would have been able to do it. That is a 2-0 by Syosset. Uniondale Knights doing an amazing job there in game 2, holding up so well. They get themselves an insane lead, but Syosset with that championship level chin, they absorb it, they take it in, they get their advantages, they start to get that Syndra out of control, and just like that, a 2-0. What an insane set. I love it. Couple robots. What can you take away from that?
Congrats. I was not honestly expecting game 2 to go that way. About 10 minutes before it did. Even
Right.
5 minutes before it did. Really. But what?
It was really that flank, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I am sad to see the kitten robot not come through. I want to know which one is named Crank and which one is named Blitz. So one has a monocle. That one might be Crank. And maybe Blitz is the one that's in the arm.
I can feel it.
I'll look
I can
more
feel that.
into this.
I can feel that because
I'm not
like
gonna let
Crank,
this
you
go.
know, a little old Cranky Kong, monocle, you know. I mean, young people can wear monocles too. You know?
Yeah,
But
they're coming
I
back.
digress. That was an absolutely insane set. Uniondale High School, please do not feel like you are not winners in your own right today. Did an amazing job standing up to the formidable opponents that Syosset LOL are, and at the end of the day, it was too much. Syosset's going to continue being the champions of the New York region, holding their head high, and I just want to thank, of course, the New York region for hosting this, but PlayVS for bringing the production aspect to it, making it what it is, and letting these young athletes feel like superstars for the afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is not all. We still have more action on the way with some Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, where Austin Champ and myself will be right back in 15 minutes. So stretch, get a snack, hydrate, get ready for some Smash action.